This is Paul Turner, the Immigration Barrister at Imperium Chambers. Please subscribe to my channel, and if you have any immigration problems, please get in touch with me. Well, the Home Office has been caught out again by the High Court in having run a secret policy by illegally seizing asylum seekers' phones and not being entirely candid with the court. The Home Office at first denied that there was such a policy before having to shamefacedly somewhat admit that it was true, and as a consequence had to apologise to the court itself. Apparently, the Home Office was allegedly operating a secret blanket policy to seize mobile phones from people arriving on small boats and then download the data from them, having arguably bullied them into allowing them access to the phones. I thought we had moved on from the government hiding or having secret policies, but sadly this apparently is not the case. What is ironic is that if an asylum seeker or migrant holds back information, they're usually penalised by the Secretary of State's courts for being arguably dishonest or not behaving in the open manner. It might be asked why the same rule does not apply to the government. Apparently, the unpublished policy for the handover of the new arrivals' phones operated between April and November 2020. It seems quite shocking as a policy, and shocking that it was hidden. It is likely, apparently, to have involved the confiscation of thousands of mobile phones the court heard in a challenge to this policy. It is said that after the Home Office officials seized the phones, the individuals were bullied into handing over their PIN numbers so that the Home Office officials could unlock personal information, including emails, photographs and videos, and download them to an intelligence database called Project Sunshine. Given the various data protection laws that exist, it seems to me that, in principle at least, it's a gross violation to take somebody's phone from them and then without their consent or without their informed consent or freely given consent, go through it and download their personal information and put it onto a government database. One doesn't know really where that information is going to end. It was even admitted in court, as the case continues at present, that the Home Office policy as it was being implemented was unlawful, as it was being applied in a blanket fashion, i.e. to everyone. Everyone lost their phones, and some had to wait months before they were actually given the phones back. Now, what makes this particularly unpleasant is that this would have happened to individuals who've made a long and often dangerous journey to the United Kingdom, and is pretty much plainly outrageous. On a personal note, my view is that taking away someone's phone who is vulnerable and in a strange country can only make their lives more miserable, as they will find it hard, if not impossible, to even let family members in their home countries, if they have family members, know that they are alive, let alone safe, especially given the tragedies that have happened in the English Channel. One might have thought that this would have been the end of the matter, but no. As I've mentioned, the case continues, and the Home Office continues to defend the decision on the basis that it can, by going through migrants' phones, without, as I say, their informed consent or by bullying them, help fight people smugglers. Not that the government has done much of a job of finding, let alone prosecuting any, generally because they're not on the small boats themselves. As I've mentioned, is that this was a policy that is somewhat historic between April and November 2020, but fortunately it's now being challenged in court. Also, as I've indicated, what makes it worse is that the Home Office had initially denied there was such a policy, but when confronted with evidence, later confirmed it. Well, what did this lead to? Well, this led to the embarrassing situation for Priti Patel, as she was forced to acknowledge through counsel to the court that the Home Office had breached its duty of candour in relation to initially failing to admit that the unpolished policy to seize phones even existed. The best the Home Office lawyer could come up with for this gross misrepresentation of the existence of a secret policy was that it was extremely unfortunate and apologised. In my view, it's more than extremely unfortunate and indicates the attitude that this Secretary of State takes. As I mentioned, this is just yet another example of this Secretary of State behaving in an oppressive and potentially illegal manner and putting yet more pressure on the most vulnerable, those migrants that arrive in the United Kingdom, often by a dangerous route. It is hard to see how taking thousands of phones and going through them while denying any such policy exists before being shamed into apologising actually is going to fix the broken asylum system. But what more do you really expect from Priti Patel? Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's been informative. It shows yet again that the government is seeking to really maximise its the focus on what are comparatively small numbers of people crossing the channel by boat, and hopefully the case will succeed in the court. I will of course update you when the court makes its decision. Thank you again for watching. Please stay safe during these dangerous times. This is Paul Turner, the immigration barrister at Imperium Chambers.